I used to believe love was a fairy tale, something people spoke about but never truly lived. After two failed relationships, I swore never to love again. It wasn't that I didn't want it, but I couldn't afford to let it distract me from my goals. The scars from past heartbreaks still stung, and I wasn't willing to take another risk. My career was my priority, climbing the corporate ladder, earning more qualifications, and becoming the best version of myself. But love, it is a fleeting illusion, one that had caused more pain than joy. But life had other plans. My name is Omolara. It all started at a colleague's baby christening. I wasn't expecting to meet anyone, much less fall for someone. But then I saw him, Chuka. He was charming, well-spoken, funny, and effortlessly kind. The kind of man who made sure everyone at the party felt welcomed, seen, and taken care of. But it wasn't just his outward charm that drew me in. It was the way he treated people. There was no pretense, no forced politeness. It was genuine, and that was rare. For the first time in a long while, I found myself intrigued, not just because he was handsome, although he undeniably was, but because he seemed to care so naturally without expectation. And that made me wonder, why was he so kind? Why did he go to such length for people he barely knew? Days later, his sister Titi reached out to me on WhatsApp. Her question was blunt and unexpected. "Do you like my brother?" The question caught me off guard, but I answered honestly, "Yes, he's a good guy." Her response, however, was even more surprising. Titi wasn't just suggesting I should date Chuka, she was encouraging it. "I have been watching you for 2 years and I think you are perfect for Chuka," she said, as though my place in their family had already been decided. Before I could fully process her words, Chuka called. He made plans for us to meet. Our first date felt like something out of a romance novel. Dinner at a fancy restaurant, soft music in the background, effortless conversation. He was a perfect gentleman, generous, attentive, and thoughtful. It was everything I had once dreamt of. And yet, something felt off. Chuka never kissed me. He never made any advances. He showered me with compliments, treated me like a queen, but when it came to intimacy, there was a noticeable absence. At first, I told myself it was just being respectful, but doubt glared at me. Why wasn't he interested in me that way? Was he just taking things slow, or was there something more? I ignored the unease, convinced that love requires patience. His family welcomed me with open arms, his three sisters, his mother showering me with affection. It felt like a dream, but I should have known that things that seem too perfect often have hidden cracks. Then came the proposal. On Valentine's Day, Chuka knelt before me in front of his entire family and asked me to be his wife. My heart soared. This was everything I'd ever wanted, everything I had hoped for. Without hesitation, I said yes. But as the wedding day approached, something changed. Chuka became distant. He was suddenly too busy with work. Whenever I brought up wedding details, he brushed me off. Titi assured me it was normal, that men don't enjoy the planning process, but the nagging feeling inside me wouldn't just go away. The wedding itself was grand, beautiful, exactly as I had imagined, and yet, when I walked down the aisle, something didn't feel right. When we kissed, it was brief, almost awkward, not the passionate embrace I had envisioned, but I told myself it didn't matter. We were married now, that was what mattered. Then came the wedding night. I had imagined a night filled with love, passion, we had promised each other, but instead, I found myself waiting and waiting. Chuka was out with friends celebrating while I sat alone in our hotel room dressed in the nightwear I had carefully picked out for this special night. When he finally returned, it was late. He was apologetic but exhausted. He needed rest, he said, and just like that, he turned away and fell asleep on the couch. The next days were no different. Chuka continued to avoid me. He was always busy, always preoccupied, When we did see each other, it was in public, always surrounded by people. The man I had married wasn't the man I had fallen in love with. I couldn't ignore it anymore. Chuka was hiding something. One evening after dinner, I confronted him. "Chuka," I said, my voice steady but firm. "What's going on? Why have you been avoiding me? Why didn't you sleep with me on our wedding night?" He stiffened, his expression hardened. I could tell that whatever answer he gave wouldn't be the truth. "I'm just tired," he said after a long pause. "The wedding, work, it's been overwhelming. I just needed some space." Space? On our honeymoon? It didn't make sense. I had only asked for closeness, for the intimacy that should have come naturally between husband and wife. But instead, there was this widening distance between us, a gap that I wasn't sure could ever be bridged. I pressed on. "Chuka, this isn't about space. You have been avoiding me for days. What are you hiding?" His eyes flickered. Cute. He looked away, swallowed hard. "I don't know what you are trying to talk about," he murmured. But I knew he was lying. And Chuka wasn't the only one who had questions to answer. Titi, who had pushed me into this marriage, was also acting strange. She had been so certain that Chuka and I were meant to be. But why? What had she known that I hadn't? I confronted her one evening, my patience wanting. "Titi, what's going on?" I demanded. "Why didn't you tell me the truth about Chuka?" Her expression shifted. First surprise, then something else, something unreadable. She didn't answer right away. Instead, letting out a long measured sigh, she said, "Some things are better left unsaid." I stared at her, my chest tightening. "What do you mean? You let me marry him without knowing the whole truth?" She looked away, her fingers tightened around the fabrics of her dress. "It is not that simple," she murmured. "Some things you just have to accept or walk away from." Walk away from? Her words echoed in my mind. But I wasn't ready to walk away, not yet. I needed to know the truth. The more I searched for answers, the more the walls around me crumbled. The love story I thought I had been living was unrevealing at the seams, revealing secrets that had been hidden from the start. Then came the moment that shattered everything. I woke up in Chuka's bed, my body still tingling with the remnants of sleep. My head ached and there was a strange fog clouding my thoughts. I tried to recall the night before, but all I found was emptiness. Something was wrong. My heart pounded as I turned to look at the man I had married, and for the first time I realized I didn't know him at all. I woke up feeling disoriented, my body weighed down by an unfamiliar heaviness. My mind was clouded. The event of the previous night was like a fog, and then I saw it. The undeniable evidence that something had happened, something I couldn't recall, something I don't understand. Panic surged through me, my heart pounding violently in my chest. What was going on? Why couldn't I remember? I turned to Chuka, desperate for answers, but he acted as though nothing was wrong. He looked at me with a casual smile as if this was just another ordinary morning. "You are too deep in sleep," he said lightly. "We had sex last night, but you were too deep and tired to remember." Too tired? My mind spun, struggling to process his words. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. I had always imagined my first night as a married woman to be one filled with love, tenderness, and connection. But instead, I felt empty, detached. Chuka, the man I had trusted, the man I had vowed to spend my life with, suddenly felt like a stranger. I searched his face, hoping for some sign that this was all a misunderstanding, but he simply surged and went about his morning as if nothing had happened. A nagging unease settled in my chest, but I tried to push it away. Maybe I was overthinking, maybe I was overexhausted from the stress of the wedding. I told myself it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Over the next few weeks, I began to notice a pattern. Whenever Chuka returns from his business trips, he always brought me drinks, juice, cocktails, something sweet and enticing. And each time I drank them, I would feel the same overpowering sleepiness take over my body. My limbs would grow heavy, my eyelids drooping until I pass out, unable to fight it. Every time I woke up hours later, groggy and disoriented, my mind blank, I tried to convince myself it was just exhaustion, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. One evening, I decided to test my suspicion. When Chuka handed me a drink, I secretly switched it with one of my own. I took slow sip, pretending to feel drowsy, and then laid down as though sleep had claimed me. What I witnessed that night shattered me. Chuka waited until he thought I was unconscious before dialing a video call. His voice, usually warm and reassuring, now carried a different tone, low, intimate, filled with something I had never heard before. And then I saw him, Chuka's best friend, the man who had stood beside him at our wedding, the man he had always been so close to. Their conversation started with harsh laughter and then it changed. Their voice deepened, filled with desire. And right there, while I lay in bed pretending to sleep, they undressed on camera, touching themselves, whispering words of longing to each other. I felt my heart stop. Everything I had believed about my husband, about my marriage, about my entire life, it had all been a lie. The next morning, Chuka didn't even try to sleep beside me. He moved into the second bedroom, leaving me to suffocate under the weight of my own heartbreak. I wanted to confront him. I wanted to scream at him, to demand the truth, but I was too shattered to form the words. Instead, I turned to the only person who had ever showered me kindness, Titi. When I called her, my voice barely above a whisper, she didn't sound surprised. In fact, she sounded relieved. "I have been watching you, Omolara," she said quietly. "I didn't want you to find out this way, but Chuka has been living a lie." My stomach twisted painfully. "What do you mean?" Titi hesitated before answering. "He is gay, Omolara. He always has been. We've known for years." A cold wave of nausea washed over me. "Then why did you make me marry him?" Titi let out a long, weary sigh. "Because our family pressured him. We wanted grandchildren. We wanted him to continue the family's legacy, and he agreed for the sake of our mother." My breath hitched. "You all knew?" My voice was trembling. "You knew and you still let me marry him? We didn't know it would go this far. We didn't know it would drug you." The ground beneath me felt like it was crumbling. And then, as if fate hadn't already been cruel enough, I found out I was pregnant. But the nightmare didn't end there. The father of my child wasn't Chuka. It was his best friend, the man he had been secretly involved with, the man he had allowed into our home while I lay unconscious, unaware of the horror unfolding around me. I was carrying a child that wasn't conceived in love but in betrayal. I wanted to scream. I wanted to crawl my way out of this nightmare. But when the truth finally came to light, the only thing Chuka's family cared about was keeping it hidden. "You have to pretend it's Chuka's child," Titi pleaded. "Our family can't handle this scandal. You have to help us save face." Save face? I had been deceived, manipulated, used as nothing more than a pawn in their sick game, and now they wanted me to continue playing along? They offered me money, security, anything I wanted, so long as I kept my mouth shut. That night, I sat alone in my room, clutching my stomach, feeling utterly lost. What was I supposed to do? Expose the truth and risk the wrath of Chuka's powerful family? Or stay silent and live a lie, raising a child in a web of deceit? I had never felt more trapped. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Life lessons. 1. The danger of ignoring red flags. Sometimes we choose to ignore warning signs, convincing ourselves that love will fix everything. But Omolara's story is a proof that ignoring red flags like emotional distance and secrecy can lead to devastating consequences. Always trust your guts. 2. Self-respect comes before love. Love should never require you to sacrifice your self-worth. Omolara's story teaches us that when something feels wrong, it is okay to walk away. You deserve honesty, respect, and real love, not an illusion. 3. Your intuition knows more than you think. From the start, Omolara felt that something was off. Her intuition tried to warn her, but she ignored it. This is a reminder that our inner voice is often our strongest guide. If something doesn't feel right, don't dismiss it. 4. Transparency is a foundation of trust. No relationship can survive on secret. Without honesty, love turns into a lie. If someone isn't being truthful with you, ask yourself, what else are they hiding? 5. Healing requires facing the truth no matter how painful. The hardest part of healing is acknowledging the truth even when it destroys you. Omolara's story reminds us that we can only move forward when we stop running from reality. Only then can we rebuild stronger than before. Now, let me ask you, if you are in Omolara's position, what would you do next? Would you stay silent or would you fight for the truth? Thanks for watching. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Your support helps us bring more gripping and thought-provoking real-life stories your way. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. And now, we want to hear from you. What would you do if you were in Omolara's shoes? Would you expose the truth or would you stay silent to protect yourself? Let us know in the comments below. Your opinion matters and we can't wait to hear your thoughts. Bye-bye.